did your dad ever, or maybe any family, any male member, or maybe even your mom or a family, a male family member, have a talk with you about your interaction with the cops,
Or just being uh uh
or in like just in general in
how to
public,
blend into society,
how
right?
people will perceive you, because this is something that's real big. I've had to. Luckily, I haven't had to do too much with my son because, like I told you, I live in Owensmith. It's like a black suburb.
Right.
First one I've ever
But
seen in
you
my
still
life.
gotta you still gotta
No, no, he still knows. He still knows. So we've talked about racism and things, but he doesn't know what to look for because that's not a problem. Like
right.
he's literally had these two little badass Russian kids. Man, all they did was fight. They fought each other. They fought every other kid, and he loved them. Nikolai and something else.
Yeah.
I mean, pure Russian. Like you're like, God damn. But he's had a bunch of white friends. He's never like his last good friend before like I want to say peer pressure kind of got the best of him because they were like buddies and everybody was like, and this is when the kids found out about being gay. And like, you guys are gay. And I was like, Jaden, and I was like, what happened? I said, did you guys kiss? He's like, no. Were you hugging? He was like, no. He's like, you do that with girls. I was like, all right.
All right, well, we hit the gay subject. We're going
Yeah,
to
yeah, I
end
was
this
like-
podcast now. It's the end of the show,
I'm black.
and it's all over.
I'm black.
Yeah,
I
it's
can
true.
do
You
that.
can say that.
It's like, but no, but so I told him, I was like, yeah, it's totally different for me. That's why I don't mind talking. But it was just the fact that he doesn't have that. But I remember my dad telling me about his stories, and it's not good because he's from, like I said, from Louisiana back in the '60s. I mean, he grew up in the '60s and '70s.
A lot of
Still
racism.
segregated.
And that's what I'm saying. It was still segregated. When he
Yeah.
was born, there was no Civil
The
Rights
first,
Act.
the first the first student to go to the first black student to go to a all white school in Louisiana is now 64 years of age.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's what, remember I was telling you, like when people talk about racism, they talk about
How long
slavery
ago
and all
it
that.
was?
They were like, oh, it's so long ago. I was like, you mean, remember I told you, I was like, you mean my dad? Are we talking about my dad? Is that what you mean to say?
No. I totally.
But we talked, we
Yeah.
already talked about that. So, but he would sit me down, and I remember he would tell me how to act with the cops, and I was young. Like after that, after that 6-year-old thing happened, from there on, any chance he got, hey, remember, keep your hands out of your pocket, look him in the eyes, don't look jittery, don't do that. You know, yes
Exactly.
sir, no sir, da da da. And I was like, well, yeah. I was like, Dad, I'll do that, whatever. He said, no, you have to do this with the cops because there's a good chance. He's like, and he would tell me good chance. He didn't say it's a possibility. It's a good chance that they might arrest you, they could hurt you. He said they could even kill you. And that scared the shit out of me. I was like, what? And he was like, and then from there he would tell me a story. Like he would tell me this story or that story that he had. My dad is the biggest square of all squares. Never done anything. Never got into trouble. He doesn't drink. Doesn't smoke. None of that shit. Fucked a lot of women. I'll give it to him. He fucked a lot of women, especially a couple of other people. Women. You know, he got in trouble. That's where he got in trouble at. I remember he said some guy punched him in the bathroom because it caught up with him. But it was his friend who wanted to. His friend wanted him to flirt with his girl to see if she would cheat.
Oh.
My dad fucked up. And so he came
Well,
back.
that's his fault for setting that up.
Oh yeah, it was his fault. But his
I mean,
thing
still.
about my dad comes back. This is a Friday. He comes back Monday, and then he was like, the dude just came in and started swinging him. Luckily, he was smaller than him, so he was able to hold him. But he was like, I was like, Dad, I was like, what you expect? He was like, I mean, you know, I was wrong.
So I mean,
But do y'all
I
have
never
that
had
conversation?
that conversation. The conversation that I always just had was, respect everybody. So I talk to everybody as them being an adult, as if they were a cop. Like, yes sir, no sir, yes sir, no sir.
But
Like,
there's a
yes,
difference
ma'am,
in
no, ma'am, yes,
respect.
ma'am.
And like I've been pulled over before in Tawnytown, right? They know who I. First of all, let me paint a picture for you. The current cops in Tawnytown was in high school with them, like.
You were in high school?
Yeah, they didn't go anywhere, right? So
Right.
they'll pull me over. They like honestly, I haven't been pulled over since I left Carroll County. Let's make that clear. I have not been stopped.
I got
I
pulled
have
over
not.
3 times in 1 mile, 2
In,
miles.
in
sorry.
Carroll County, I used to get pulled over every day on my way home. Like, not even exaggerating. Motherfuckers were always pulling me over, but like taking me out of my car, searching my car, and sending me on my way. Never giving me tickets. Never
Never
really
fully
telling me
explaining
why.
what happened. Yeah.
Right. It's like, we stop you. You're suspicious. Oh, you're clear. You're good to go. Have a nice day. And then they don't understand that. It's like, why'd you stop me in the first place? Like,
Well, see, you would deal with that in this area because the reality, there's no black kids. So
Right, but
right. But my point is, there's nothing but kids. So if you're a young person driving around, after hours around here, a
But
cop will
that's
follow
still,
you.
I get that.
Cop will
They'll
follow
follow you, but even if you,
and they're gonna pull you over.
if you're a cop and first of all, what I believe is a cop, you should be held to a higher standard in general just because you took an
Absolutely.
oath. And then secondly, you should follow the law, right? And then the law, I don't know about in Pennsylvania, but the law in Maryland, you can't follow someone as a cop. You cannot follow them for more than 3 turns or 1 mile. So if you
I
don't
wish
pull
I
them,
knew that. Is that
Yeah,
here? Is
yeah.
that just here?
no, that's in Maryland. So
I
like,
got followed a lot longer than
right,
that.
it's harassment. So if they put it like this, when you go to court, you talk to the judge, and they'll ask you how long was the police officer behind you, and if you tell them,
I gotta make a call right quick. Go ahead.
if you tell them that they were behind you for a while, they just waited for you to make a mistake. Well, what person driving for an extended period of time doesn't touch the line, doesn't, you know what I mean? So if they follow you for an extended period of time waiting for you to mess up, well, then that's harassment and kind of entrapment. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's entrapment. but-
Entrapment's one of those things that's super hard to actually like pin down.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's like such a flaky thing, which it's a lot of cases. But I know what you're saying because I mean, I've had plenty of run-ins with police myself, and I had a cop follow me. I pulled out. He was in a Dodge Durango. This is like right before like they just started introducing Dodge Durangos as police vehicles, and there weren't that many of them because it didn't last long. So there was a Dodge Durango like whipped out behind me, no lights on, right, blazing, gets right up on my butt, and I actually got scared.
Right.
So I take off, okay, and he like kind of stayed with me. I get to a stop sign, turn right, pull out slow. He's still behind me, right up on my butt, right. I take off. I didn't break the speed limit. He catches right up with me, right on my butt again. This time, boom, hammer down, man. I get the whole way up to 90. Speed limit was like 40 on this road.
Uh-huh.
He waits till I'm doing like 75. Way over the speed limit.
Right.
25 over. He waited till I hit 25 over.
Did you go to
Woo!
court?
I did. So what happened was he pulled me over. I pulled in a driveway. He's like, "Why'd you pull in a driveway?" I was like, "I didn't know what else to do."
Right.
He's like, "Why'd you pull in a driveway?" I was like, "Honestly, I was scared." He's like, "Why are you scared? What do you got? What's in the car?"
Right.
And I'm like,
You know what's
"Nothing."
crazy about that?
I was just intimidated.
Do you know that's their training?
Oh yeah,
Like,
I know.
to-
Intimidate.
It's intimidate you, and then like to actually penalize you for being scared. That the fact that they intimidated you,
Right.
and then also if you are not scared, then they assume you are too calm, and that you also have something to hide because it's like a negative. It's like a lose situation.
Right.
Like
You just have to be like 10 and 2 and like, yes, sir. No, sir. Yes. So like I learned that now, and that's what I do now. But at that time, I was actually mad
Right.
because I'm like, dude, you could have pulled me over. I broke the speed limit twice before, and you didn't pull me over. You waited till I was doing like maximum speed so you could slap on this big ticket of 25 over, which at 23 over in the state of Pennsylvania, you lose your
reckless
license. Reckless,
endangerment.
yes.
Yeah.
So I was like in college at the time. I was commuting. I already had points on my license. This was a guaranteed lose my license for X amount of days. I was like, I have to fight this or I'm going to have to drop out this semester.
Right.
So I got like, I didn't have the money for a lawyer. I was a pretty broke white kid, you know what I mean? So I was working like full time, going through school, paying my way through this, that, and the other. Doing all this other stuff too, like extracurricular stuff with lifting, martial arts training, that kind of stuff when I was doing that stuff. So I had a lot of money going out of
Yeah,
my
to other
own
stuff.
but I was working for at the same time. So I was like, scraping pennies to defend myself, and then had to pay a ticket. So I go in there with the judge, and I pretty much pled my case. I'm like, listen, man, like he got up on me. I was scared. I didn't know what was going on. I took off. Like he followed. It took off, and then he finally turned on his lights, and like. I had this whole like argument planned out, and I just kind of like crapped the bed halfway through, like, and then the judge was like, sometimes just saying less is more, like basically like telling me like, shut up.
Right.
I was like, okay, and the cop was like, I guess he felt bad because I talked to him prior to it, and he's just like, at the time I was going to school for criminal justice because I want to be a cop. Funny synopsis.
Right.
But he's like, well, let's like, he wants to be a police officer, this and the other. We don't want to mess with us. Going to school, everything's going right. Blah blah. Let's tone it down and give him like, it was like 10 over the speed limit, no points. They wound up giving me points, and I had to take a test. So therefore, I didn't lose my license, but I was at max points. So I had to drive like an angel
Right, for the rest of
what, like a
Yeah.
year or two until they take off 2 points. But it was, you know what I mean? I had plenty of run-ins. And it was like the thing with the Colin Kaepernick story that we always talk about is how he got harassed by police. Walking around in a white neighborhood with his hood up, and I'm like, dude, that'd be anybody walking around in a white neighborhood with the hood up.
Yeah, but
Could you imagine doing that in Tawnytown under your friends? Like, I've gotten stopped by the cops just being a kid walking around a white
But
neighborhood.
it's
like,
not necessarily. It's
What
not
are you doing?
necessarily
What are you
the
doing?
stop though. You get
What are you
I'm
doing?
saying? It's the treatment after you stop and realize who that person is. Right?
I understand.
So if
Trust me, I get it.
if
I
I
get
see a suspicious figure, yes, as a cop, okay, I have to investigate that,
Yeah,
right?
that
But
is
once I figure out who that suspicious figure is and how I plan on approaching or doing or finishing that situation is very different, right? So there's been time and time again where you can see the same exact instances, and sometimes, in some cases, the same exact jurisdiction, same exact areas, where a cop will stop one group of people, and it'll be, okay, I stopped you because you were suspicious, but I found out that you were white. And then
I get it.
And then it was more or less a questioning, and then you're on your way, right? Whereas I took a defensive, combative stance if it was a group of brown or black people.
You
It's
know-
like,
Here's a one key thing that I've noticed with some of my friends that I've talked about versus some people. Now, I'm not going to say this happens to all, but like people having to get out of the cars and sit on the curb, like black grown men.
yeah.
It's like versus I've seen people get pulled out of the car and just have to stand around.
Right, and not put in
And
handcuffs.
the same thing has happened with some of my friends when we were younger. Like I'd say
It's because you're
between
perceived as a
18
threat.
18 to 25, something like that. Like younger age than I am now because I'm 34. It's like where they've been pulled over and maybe there's a suspicion of something. Like, oh, I smell something. Whether it's true or not, I'm not saying that there may not actually be something.
Right,
Don't worry about the camera.
No, you're good.
But they take them out and sit them on the ground, and it's like, what? Why can't I just stand up? Like it's a cop here, it's a cop here, there's multiple cops here. Like I can take off running from a sitting stance too. Like
Right.
you know what I mean? Like I can be on the knee and fucking I'll be in perfect position.
It's
to
about
raise up
the
a little bit.
perception, right?
But that's what I'm
So-
saying. Yeah, it's but that's also perception on our part because it's like, wait a second. Because when I remember the first time I saw it, I was like no, I don't want to sit on the ground. Like I got a white shirt on. Like
Right.
if not, I might have to cover up and pull my pants down a little bit because I don't want to get it. Like that's a fucking dirty curb. I
I've
don't
been-
want to sit down on a dirty curb.
I've been in the car with, it was me, my friend Nick,
Yeah,
and then two
it
white
wasn't me.
people.
I wasn't driving.
Right. And me and my friend Nick were putting handcuffs and sat on the curb. And the white people were able to talk to the cops standing at the back of the car.
I mean,
You
I've
get
been,
what I'm saying?
I've been cuffed and put in the car.
Right. But I mean,
You
in the
did something
same,
wrong.
I
right.
did.
And I mean, I'm not checking. Well, we at that point we were innocent. We were headed to go do some illegal partying, but at,
Yeah, we
be-
were going to drink.
right. But prior to that, we weren't doing anything. Like we hadn't had a sip of alcohol, and we were headed to said party. And me and my friend Nick, because we were with,
And you were both black?
yeah, me and Nick are black, and then the two females are
White.
white.
Ooh,
We got
what's wrong with you?
exactly right. So we had a bottle of Captain Morgan in the car, right?
That ain't going over.
Was it
well.
unopened or open?
It was unopened. And the cop, like the girl whose car it was, she was like, "Yeah, that's my bottle." And he was like, "Which one of them is making you say that it's yours?" And I was just like, "Wait a minute,
Right.
this ain't even my car, bro. They just picked me up."
Like, wait a second, nobody's kidnapped you.
Right. And the cop was like, he was adamant, like he was really adamant. He was just like, "I don't believe that."
What you're saying?
Yeah, I don't believe that this is hers, and I do believe that you told her that to say it was hers because you thought that she wouldn't get in trouble
That's
for it.
crazy.
And I was just like, why would I make up this? I'm like, she just picked me up. There's no way for me to prove that to you, but I'm not a lawyer or anything like that. But my mom always told me whoever car it is, that's who it belongs to. This isn't my car.
Like this person's going to get in trouble for it.
Right,
Yeah.
but at the same time, me and Nick got arrested for underage drinking, and the two girls went home. You know what I'm saying? Like, so at the
yeah.
end of the day, it's like
And that was in
Forget what the fuck
Tawnytown?
I was about
that
to
was
say.
in Westminster, the Roy Rogers.
Listen, you might as well say the same place, okay?
Right.
Like, there's no
yeah,
difference.
Yeah.